Happy 2024, my fellow compatriots of the cyberspace. Last year was quite a ride for us lit gamers out there. We had some banging highs and Mariana Trench lows that were absolute steaming piles of deuce. If there's one thing I've learnt this past year, it's to never, ever buy a game from a AAA studio on release, or in fact, ever. It's either an unoptimized shit show or this. There are exceptions, of course, but indie titles are where it's at. Some of the greatest games ever are indie titles. And oh, my brothers in Christ, does today's example not reinforce that sentiment enough? I'm talking about Lethal Company. Is it as good as everyone is saying? Spoiler warning. Yes.
It's spawn camping. Get out of here.
Oh.
Go. You can do this.
He's right there.
Oh, you're going in, I'm with you. Oh. He's not here anymore. He's there. Oh. Hello.
Hello, and welcome to Lethal Company, a game that's absolutely popped the fuck off in these past few months, taken the community by storm, and has some of the biggest names in the online space playing it. Why? Because it's good. Really good. In fact, this game has blown up so hard, it's outsold the new COD, and it was made by a single developer. Isn't that just bonkers? I bet every large game corporation is quaking in their boots. Rightfully so, you lazy pigs. My time with Lethal Company, and I say this from the bottom of my battle-hardened, jaded ass, is some of the most fun I've had with a game ever. It goes from being some of the goofiest shenanigans I've ever seen to a nauseating, sphincter-clenching nightmare, and I'm all for it.
Run, it's coming for me. Go.
Lethal Company is a prime example that a game doesn't have to be a graphical masterpiece or bloated with a billion systems to be a blast. It has a simple yet rewarding gameplay loop that really tickles all my smooth brain transmitters. Let's go over the gameplay first, shall we? As I stated, Lethal Company's gameplay is nice and simple in design. Sometimes less is more, boys, and that couldn't be more true here. You have just two objectives: collect scrap for the company and, well, survive. Nothing tickles my fancy quite like harmful capitalist practices and potential grievous bodily harm from horrific creatures beyond comprehension, waiting in the darkness to clap your bunda. The average Amazon worker experience be like. And while Lethal Company may be simple, it is by no means easy. It's best played with others, so there's your first challenge, having friends. Once you've gathered your crew, you will be greeted with a banger induction.
A great asset to the company. Great asset to the company.
And the only aid you receive is an instruction manual with a few pointers. Too bad I can't read. Your job is simple. Gather enough scrap from a variety of prestigiously generated industrialized moons to meet a set quota, then return said scrap to the company building. The quota will increase with each one met, forever. So Lethal Company is essentially endless. Sounds easy, right? Well, two things. You stink. And you're wrong. You won't be alone in there. All sorts of grotesque nightmare-fuel abominations are just waiting to make your acquaintance. And they aren't very nice, I'm afraid. Oh! Just never miss a quota. This game has made me feel things. Don't let the charming graphics and thick workers deceive you. Lethal Company has this incredible ability to seamlessly transition from knee-slapping goofs to pure cheek-clenching terror.
Oh.
What?
The combination of fantastic sound design, the hilarious voice chat, and high stakes of getting back to your ship before midnight makes for a truly entertaining, diarrhea-shitting in pants experience.
He's right there!
Just don't stare at him. He won't see this coming.
And I cannot emphasize how effective proximity voice chat is for the spoopy factor. Hearing your homie be brutally mutilated from a distance, finding the room covered in their entrails with their body nowhere to be seen, then suddenly your neck goes snap, your muffled cries as a big wriggly bug smothers you to death, your crewmates' wailing screams over the walkie-talkie as you watch the red dot approach them over the ship's cameras is just peak entertainment. And bros, I finished Outlast with the lights off, and Lethal Company had me hitting those high notes. The way you're dropped in with no idea of what to expect, very limited tools and knowledge, praying to God a large black man doesn't come out of the shadows and kiss you on that hot mouth, is why I find Lethal Company so scary. It's a game where you will continually ask yourself, will it kill me? And the answer is always a resounding abso-fucking-lutely. Even though you'll be getting ragdolled 90% of the time. you're not completely defenseless. Luckily for us corporate rats, the company supplies many tools and gadgets available for purchase that takes the odds of survival from 1% to 1.1%. Each one serves its unique purpose, such as dealing with certain entities. Others make exploration and navigation less dangerous. You'll need to make astute decisions. Will you travel to more hazardous moons and risk it all for more valuable scrap to ensure you meet the quota, or risk displeasing the company, which you cannot do? The base game is great, but the mods take it into another plane of litness. Goes to show that a unique idea can blossom into something awesome, but many questions have yet to be answered. What is the company? Why are you a little bin chicken collecting worthless garbage for them? What in tarnation is that shit? Well, let's explore that next, shall we? Greetings, fellow wage slaves. Allow me to welcome you to home. This luxurious spacecraft is graciously supplied by the company for the duration of your employment and will serve as a base of operations and a storage place for all the valuable scrap you find while working your completely ethical and humane job. Let me show you around. Firstly, we have the main battle station, home to the autopilot lever, as well as sporting a monstrous 6-monitor setup that displays vital information such as your quota progress and deadline, a camera system for monitoring and guiding your crew through the many hospitable facilities if you know what you're doing. Next, we have the lifeline of the entire operation, the terminal. It's your best friend. You'll be doing so many core components of Lethal Company's gameplay from here, purchasing equipment and upgrades, choosing the moons to travel to, using the bestiary to view valuable game-changing information on each entity you have scanned, opening sealed doors and turning off turrets, and even infinite Clash of Clans gem codes. You'll be visiting a variety of moons on your voyage for scrap. Each moon will be of differing difficulty and have unique factors you'll need to take into account when choosing a moon to travel to. Things like certain weather conditions, the amount of scrap, the hazard level, the cost to travel there, etc. For example, experimentation, assurance, and Val will pose the least threat in terms of the amount of enemies that will spawn to fuck your ass, but in turn offer far less scrap, making the larger quota impossible to meet. On the contrary, Titan, the most dangerous moon, while having the highest amount of valuable scrap, boasts the most blood-curdling enemies, the largest map area increasing the likelihood of getting lost, oh, and the fucking blizzard outside. So as they say, you gotta risk it for the biscuit, which you will be doing every time your spaceboat lands. If your whole team gets wiped out, say goodbye to all that hard-earned scrap you've gathered, which, you know, isn't good. These moons are home to some lovely creatures, all of them having a shared goal, to send you and your crew to Valhalla. They come in many shapes and sizes with distinctive and horrifying designs. Each entity is dealt with and best avoided in various ways. I'll leave that up to you to figure out. Godspeed. Finally, the lore. That more than likely went straight over your head if you weren't actively searching for it, seeing as it's quite conspicuous by design. What we do know is Lethal Company takes place in a region of deep space called Thistle Nebula, where humanity has found the means of interstellar travel. You're a contracted 9-to-5 employee whose job is gathering otherwise meaningless scrap from many desolate moons for the company. An unknown and sinister presence residing on 71 Gordian, an ocean-covered moon with a towering facility where you will deposit your scrap, and if your crew is a little too rowdy at the front desk, well, what lies beyond these concrete walls is a complete mystery. Is it some unfathomable monstrosity capable of consuming entire planets that is kept at bay by consuming the scrap you gather? Is it Jeff Bezos himself? Well, who the fuck knows? And when does the contract end, you ask? Like any good job, when you die. While on the ship, you may have noticed next to the terminal is a post-it note with the word Sigurd. Upon typing this into the terminal, you will be greeted with a log entry from a fellow employee, Sigurd, that's 500 years old, documenting his crew's discoveries. This is the same absolute lad who appears in the bestiary with all the information on the entities you encounter, so it would seem you're not the first to visit. Multiple logs can be found on each moon, adding even more to the narrative of Lethal Company, but will more often than not lead to more questions. I'm personally very excited to see how Zeekers expands the story from here. Oh, and how it makes me chuckle that a solo developer is out here writing better narratives than multi-million-dollar studios with years of experience. I love Lethal Company. I can't remember the last time I've had this much fun with a video game. It's been a breath of fresh air from all the turbo cringe, copy and paste, live service, looter shooter, battle pass extravaganza we're used to. I don't care what kind of gamer you are, you will have a blast, and I wholeheartedly recommend Lethal Company. And yeah, I just wanted to discuss this awesome little indie game a bit. If you've made it to the end, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. I know the upload schedule has been disgraceful, you know, life and shit, but I'm back on that Sigma grind set, so if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for plenty more unhinged shenanigans. I've been your Lord Maxorus, and bye-bye, until next time.